Hey everybody, welcome to our very first business audit episode. Excited to have Matt Hobbs here. We've been connected for a while now on Facebook and excited to really dive into what he does and his business and see what kind of advice that we can give him to help him move forward through any kind of bottlenecks that he has. So Matt, welcome to the show and please introduce yourself to us and let us know what your business is.
All right, so I'm Matt Hobbs, 32, live in Middle Tennessee, wife and 2 kids. I own ARG Outdoor Services. It's a niche land clearing and forestry mulching business. I've been at it for 2 years. I started with zero experience after driving a truck for 10 years. I just got tired of being on the road. I'm also a real estate agent, and eventually the long-term goal is to merge the 2 businesses into maybe not one business, but definitely where they feed off of each other. So
I got you. So I like that long-term. So obviously the first thing was to get out of the truck seat, be able to be home more and everything. Obviously you're coming home every night now, and then you want to build up the business. So is that really you building it up on your own? Do you see like having team members? Like what does that look like exactly?
I really enjoy my autonomy. I really enjoy just having to worry about me and my household, my family. The idea of having someone else come on sounds great in theory, but then you have another headache, possibly. Maybe you get lucky and you hire a great person. But for now, for the next foreseeable couple, 3 years, probably just going to stay solo. And then long term, if I could find 1 or 2 just really awesome guys and give them a good, a better life than working for some big conglomerate, then I'd probably go down that route. But I don't have any desire to grow a big, massive company.
Yeah, and that's not for everybody to grow this massive company. I completely get that. I even see for myself, I don't plan to have like hundreds of thousands of employees or anything, but definitely want to be bigger than we are right now. But somewhere in the middle of that, I guess, is where I want to be and everything. So very interesting. So what do you feel like is your bottleneck right now? Obviously, you've got the 2 businesses. I would say they kind of closely align. But I guess before I ask that question, what are you doing on the real estate side? Is that residential, commercial? What's the real estate side?
So I got my license last October, so I'm still pretty new to it. It's been a slow game so far. It's residential, just buying and selling with clients. Like I said, the long-term play is to find my own properties, purchase them myself, use my equipment to fix them up, and then partner with a builder or just subdivide and sell the lots off myself. So I want it to have its own ecosystem, but still kind of 2 separate climates, I guess you could say.
I got you there. Have you thought about doing commercial and doing land sales, like commercial real estate and doing land sales? Because that would start getting you in that environment. I mean, I don't know what your income looks like for residential real estate versus the ARG outdoors business, but if most of your income's coming from ARG, then you have the opportunity to really make that switch. I mean, on the commercial real estate side, it is a longer play, especially with land. But like you just said, like you literally get into that and you can learn the inner workings of the business side, how to acquire land. And now you have connections as well that you're already making on that commercial real estate side without it being you having to have the capital necessarily, which then feeds into your ARG business directly because they're probably going to need somebody and they'll probably ask you as their real estate advisor, hey, who do you know? And well, hey, I actually have this business over here. We do land clearing, custom niche land clearing, all that stuff. And then if not, you can refer them to somebody else that maybe does something less customized also. And so now you're just like this resource, not just to help them find land, buy or sell it, but also that you can actually do some of that work. And now you're feeding the other business.
Yeah. I think as far as when I think commercial property, land, you obviously have the small plots of land in town, in the city limits. But, then you see these massive tracts out on the interstate that are 100, 200, 300 acres, whatever. And my equipment couldn't touch that at this moment. But, as far as finding some investors to work with, maybe I don't actually buy the land. But, I'm thinking like the 5 to 10 acre sections of land and split them off, resell them, partner with a builder. I mean, it should be plenty of options to go through.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I don't know the real estate side as much. I think commercial, you're going to see more of that land sales versus the residential necessarily. Not that either side couldn't do that, but I would think there'd be more opportunities on the commercial side to do land sales, even if it is the small tracts, like you're saying. Like, you totally get the whole, like, you don't want 100 or 200 acres or you can't handle that right now. now, but I would think that maybe that's the route you could go. And even if you stay on the residential side, obviously as things come in, people want to buy or sell a house, you can help them out with that. But you're kind of more the land side, like maybe custom home building kind of thing, and finding those smaller tracts like 5-10 acres, and then you go to a custom home builder, and then that way, again, it feeds back into your business. So yeah, I think that would be a great route to help build up that business, and then eventually leads into you getting some people helping you out doing some of that work while you're maybe doing the deals on the back end and everything.
Yeah, I want to eventually be to a point where I'm selling full-time, selling jobs, selling real estate, and maybe being the equipment here and there just because I do enjoy it. But like I said, that's a few years away. I got to make all the stars align first.
Yeah. So interesting. So you don't want to necessarily be the 100% operator, so to speak, in the ARG business at the end of the day.
No, I mean, like I said, for the next couple of years, it's going to be me. But when I get to the point of being able to find someone, and I'm only 2 years in the business. And like I said, I'm very niche in what I do, very specific. Honestly, I'm kind of picky with what I do. So yeah, I've got to find the right person, the right fit eventually, and plug them in and get them trained up, and then just have them buy into the dream too. One of the best things about being self-employed is, I'm pretty well in control of my own time, and that's the type of boss I would want to be for my future employees. Is, hey, you have a kid's deal at school, blah blah blah, go. Just let me know. Communication is the biggest thing, but I hate the rat race. So
yeah, I get that completely. I mean, you could go different ways with this person. You have them as a 1099, or if you can have them as a W-2. It just depends on the route that you want to take, the route that they want to take, and everything. But yeah, I would look into that, man. It sounds like the real estate side, really kind of acquiring land and stuff, is more where you want to go rather than being the worker bee. Obviously, you're having to be the worker bee right now, but it depends on where your financials are at. Maybe you can start actually hiring somebody on, or even if it's just a part-time thing, a summer gig, something like that. Use some kind of intern type thing, an apprentice type program, if you will, to see what that looks like. Somebody that's not going to be dedicated to however long, like you bring them on as an actual employee. Maybe they're just an intern or an apprentice, and then you can kind of learn together with them. And it's kind of a way that you can learn, okay, that sucked. Oh, this wasn't too bad. Here's what I should do better. And that way, when it's finally like it's time to hire somebody full time, now you've kind of worked through a lot of those kinks, instead of you're going through 2, 3, 5 guys before you finally get that person that makes sense and fits.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. There's many different roads that could be taken. You just I'll know when I get there, is the way I look at it,
Yeah. But what are you doing to write things down though? Because that's part of it too. Like, it's good to have the ideas, but until you start writing it down and have kind of a plan in place, it's hard for the stars to align, so to speak.
That's, it's funny. I hear people say that all the time on, social media, viral clips and stuff. You got to write it. I haven't done it. I have a little note from like 3 years ago that I wrote down, and I keep in my wallet or something, that's just very basic, but everything on that note the business has changed and morphed and grew way past that already. So I need to write another one down, and another list down, and maybe set some deadlines for some goals. And I'm a very busy person. I wake up at 4 a.m. and go to the gym, and then it's wide open until I go to bed at 8 p.m. every night. So it's a hustle, but I need to have some more, I guess you could say, intentional actions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think, writing those goals down will help a lot. Like writing down where you want to go. Because part of that too is like thinking through, what does that look like, the future version of the business or businesses that I'm trying to grow, as well as once you create that vision, now you can be more bought into it. You can get excited about it. But now, and I don't know how much you're bringing your wife and the kids, what's their ages, the kids?
9 and 16.
Okay. So the 16-year-old completely understands it. The 9-year-old probably off doing their own thing, halfway paying attention. But even with them, like as you're talking about this vision, more so the 9-year-old than the 16-year-old, but even then, like they can be bought in more with that. But your wife as well, if you show like the vision, here's where I'm trying to go. I mean, they're a great sounding board. They can kind of poke holes in things and say, hey, that doesn't really make sense. Or, maybe you have an idea, and I know you said you don't want a bunch of employees, but you're like, hey, I want to have like 20 employees, this, that, and the other, and all these trucks and this, all this equipment. equipment, and your wife's like, whoa, that sounds like way more than I would ever want. But now you're able to have that conversation because you wrote something down versus just kind of talking about it loosely here and there. So I think that would be a great way to get more buy-in from your wife and everything as well. And then get the kids excited too. Maybe they'll have ideas, something that you would have never thought of, and they randomly come up with it and like, oh, that's good. I like that.
My 16-year-old, he's my stepson. He obviously just started driving, and right before the podcast, he actually just walked in. He's like, hey, Matt, I'll make like $1,500 this week. At 16. So what he has done is he started his own little business doing odd jobs, you know, mostly weed eating and junk haul off, just mulching flower beds. But the kid is hustling, and I love to see that. So I've started referring, like, I'll go in and clear out a section with my machines, and then I'll tell the people, you know, the customer, like, hey, you know, 6 months from now when you're ready for a little touch up, I can do it for X price, which is fine. I'd love to. Or we can have my stepson come in and he can weed eat it with a metal, you know, brush head on his weed eater and make some money. So he's kind of bought into his own thing. It's cool because it gives us something to bond over, where he's always asking me questions, or I'll see him, you know, a couple days ago, he made a post on Facebook and he used ChatGPT, and I love using ChatGPT, but sometimes the wording sounds just a little ridiculous. I messaged him, or I texted him, I said, hey man, you know, edit this a little bit so it sounds a little bit more like a teenage boy said it instead of a Victorian queen, you know, like tone it down a little bit. He's like, yeah, that's a good idea. So, and then my 9-year-old, she loves being around the equipment, and you know, she thinks it's cool, but it's cool for about 3 minutes and then she's over it. So
yep, that's that age.
I definitely couldn't do it without my wife. She keeps me in check, and she's a lot more cautious than I am. So
yeah,
it's good to have that balance.
For sure. You know, she'll definitely help you with guiding that in the right direction. So that would be, you know, really for me, when I look at what you're talking about here, that would be one of the next steps, you know, writing down where you're trying to go, utilizing your residential real estate, whether you decide to stay residential or go over to commercial, and really focus in on that small plots of land and really getting that where you get your name and get known for that piece of thing, which then would feed into the business so it can grow to where you want it to be. And hopefully you're kind of able to refer back and forth between the two businesses essentially for yourself, and then also for your stepson as he's doing this right now, which is really a cool thing. So it just really kind of feeds that environment for you. So that would be what I would do if I was in your shoes right now.
Yeah, I mean, eventually being a full service real estate development, you know, entity between the two, that's the long-term play. And I think the smaller residential is just going to probably stay my niche. Everybody wants to, you know, if you have a guy that mows yards for a living, he wants to go eventually mow Walmart. If he spends all day mowing Walmart, he's probably going to make more money going and mowing 6, 8, 9 houses in a day, residential houses. So the commercial is good. The numbers get bigger, the gross numbers, but as far as profits, I'm not always sure about that. So
yeah. I mean, then the other side of that too is like, you know, you got one client versus 6 clients. So what do you want to deal with at the end of the day is what business really comes down to, which is to me, the best part about it. You get to decide what you want to deal with and who you want to work with, which is just a fun part about business.
Yep. I mean, I'll have 3 customers this week, and it's a couple of them are return customers. It's just nice to build relationships too, you know. So either way is fine, but we'll see what the next few years holds.
There we go. Well, Matt, like I said, your next steps that I think for you, just from my perspective on the business, is really writing down where you're trying to go in the next couple of years, share that with the family, and then work your way towards building up that residential side. And as we kind of talk about more, I think you could bring it in under ARG. You would just need to obviously get your licenses a proper, or have some kind of broker that will allow you to hang your license under them so it can stay active and everything. But then you'll be able to do those deals yourself and broker them all yourself, if you will.
Yeah. So my brokerage, the most real estate agents are pretty or very clean, I guess you could say. And I showed up when I first met my broker. I didn't have my license yet, but I had reached out and said, hey, I'm about to have it. And I walked in the office fresh off of a job site I pulled my excavator to the office, and he's like, you're different. I was like, yeah. And so that's another play for me, is I can put on a nice collared shirt when I need to, but most of the time, even during my real estate stuff, I'm pulling my equipment to the showing, and I just am who I am. And people seem to like it because it's not, you know, I'm not pulling up in a Mercedes and in a suit, so I'm just a dude.
Just a dude with an excavator. Yeah. I like it.
Excavator,
So,
a real estate license, and big dreams.
yep, exactly. Well, Matt, man, I appreciate the time. This has been fun, kind of going through, diving into your business, and hopefully helpful for you as well. But appreciate it.
Yep, sounds good, man. I appreciate you.